Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Wacom webinar on this Thursday afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. This is already the second webinar we have with Substance, and today Guillaume will be talking about texturing and rendering a hero asset for VFX in Substance. But before we start, here's a little bit of housekeeping, which will make the webinar much more enjoyable for everybody on board. So the webinar will be approximately an hour, give and take a few minutes. And we will definitely have time, at least 10 minutes for Q&A towards the end of the webinar. For your questions, please use the Q&A function of Zoom. You will find it in the interface at the bottom taskbar of Zoom, where it says Q&A. This makes it much easier for us to either answer questions on the fly or to address them collectively towards the end of the webinar. Guillaume will try to answer as many questions as possible, but we will definitely share a summary of the webinar with additional information and unanswered questions via email in the following days as a follow-up to this webinar. If you are new to Zoom, tiny bit of advice from us, do play around with the view options in the top right corner of the Zoom interface. If it says speaker view, you will be able to see Guillaume's shared screen in a bit and an over-the-shoulder camera view. And there should be a little slider between the two images, which will allow you to make the two images either equally large or different sizes. Do play around with it, click a few of those buttons and view controls. It's Zoom, you cannot break it, but it might be able to increase your experience. All right, so let's do a little introduction. For those who don't know Wacom, we are a specialist for digital pens with more than or almost 40 years of experience. And our products are usually used in situations where the keyboard or mouse and trackpad don't work very well when you have to work on a computer. So this is obvious for digital art and design, but it's also for teaching and learning and scribbling ideas and annotating and even signing documents, even at supermarket checkouts. Our ambassador today is Guillaume Meyer. He's a technical artist for 3D and Immersive. And during this webinar, he will be working on a Cintiq Pro 24. And this webinar is brought to you in cooperation with Substance, the reference solution for 3D digital materials and texturing. So before, without much ado, let me hand over to Guillaume, who is going to be your host and expert today. Enjoy and see you later for the Q&A.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Let's share my screen. Let's begin. Share. It's over there. Okay. That's it. Everyone can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So let's begin. So hi, hello. I'm Guillaume Meyer. I work at Substance by Adobe as a technical artist. I began at Substance doing a lot of material for Substance Source. So a lot of stuff over there has been made by me and my colleagues. And also we have kind of awesome 3D artists like Daniel Tiger and others that are doing a lot of Substance for Substance Source, and you can find them on Signature collections over there. So a lot of great textures, all procedural, so you can tweak them, etc. So this is what I've done at Algorithmic for 3 years, and now I'm more moving on doing some demos and showing what's what's new on the Substance ecosystem. So that's it for the presentation. What we will do first, we will go through Alchemist. And this is the new version of Alchemist that has been released yesterday. So now it's available for everyone. And we will jump into Alchemist, first create materials. Then we will apply the materials on Substance Designer on a specific asset that is a small robot with some UDIMs. Okay, let me delete that. Okay, so this is Substance Alchemist. I will use during the demo, I will use the Express key remote from Wacom, because when you're working in 3D, it can be complicated to pan around and rotate around with just a pen. So what I will do, will first launch it, and what you will see is that with some of the buttons over there, I can really like pan with some of the controls like that, and zoom in, zoom out like that. So I don't need to have like a complex workflow with a keyboard, etc., etc. So to set the remote express key, I went with the Wacom driver here, and here you can, when you click on the express key remote, you can precise what you want to map on the different keys. And for me, I just mapped that. So this one, I can zoom in, zoom out on all the Substance software. This one I can rotate. It's basically taking the Alt key, and with this click, I'm just rotating. And with this one, I can just pan. So I don't need to, every time I want to rotate or do something like that, I just touch the screen with my pen, so I can be really more precise on what I'm doing. And I'm just combining with this express key remote. So let's begin creating. We will jump back also with the express key remote on Substance Painter to see how it works with Painter. So let's clean this one. Okay, let's take the cube like that. Whoop. And just put it on the center. Okay. And first, what I want to show you is a new way to create materials by using artificial intelligence. And this is a new filter we developed these recent years. And what I like to do with this new feature, I like to go on Google Image or Adobe Stock, because Adobe Stock has more high definition photographies. And I just try to get some textures like metal, grid, old textures for robot. And see what's available on Adobe Stock, and just downloading some of the image to try them on Alchemist. So let's see what they have. And as you can see, there is a ton of content like that. I was doing like a research, and I like this one. This one is beautiful. Also, so you can see that it's very crisp. So you have a lot of details to work with Alchemist. So this one, and I will go back to Adobe Stock after to show you another type of texture creation. And I will just go on my downloads, drag and drop this image. And now when you drag and drop an image, there is a new pop-up window in Alchemist, and you can choose what you want to do with that. And actually on this one, I want to use the image to material that for those of the one who know B2M, it's replacing B2M, but you can still choose B2M if you want to choose B2M. But here I will choose the new option. This is the AI powered image to material. I will click OK. So here in Alchemist, what we can see, we have a 3D viewport, a very simple viewport. And here we have a layer stack. And basically, Alchemist, when you import something on Alchemist, it will always drag and drop a base material on the layer stack. Then it will import your image, and then it will apply on top of that a layer. So it's a classic layer stack going from the bottom to the top. And with that, as you can see, it's just outputting nice materials that have a lot of precision to it. So as you can see, it maps really well all the holes on the texture like that. We can try with other type of material. Like I know that the algorithm works really well with exterior grounds, so browns rock, for example. It has been trained a lot for this type of texture, and the development team is working more and more to integrate other type of textures. I'll put textures over there, or other type of texture to have like better results at the end with Alchemist. So let's try to take something over there that will look good. Maybe this one. I never try it with this one. Like that. And what you will see is that Alchemist with this type of photos that has like a great resolution, it will just analyze well the lighting and create material for you really simply. So obviously it takes more time than the classic B2M workflow, because it's really analyzing the image. And before doing the treatment, I forgot to crop the image. Or also we can use a transform node, like this one, to wrap it better. And we want to put the transform before here, and we can transform our texture like that, so it's a bit better, it's not distorted. And then we can reactivate the image to material. So now it will calculate the material with taking in account the material transform. And as you can see, the quality is just amazing. You have like a texture of rocks. We can analyze the height information, and you have like a great height information, the roughness, the normal, and even within, and we delight always the color. So between this scan, the image, and the delight version, you can see that the delighter has a great quality. And we can tweak some normals, details, parameters, because the algorithm will bake two normals. It will bake a low definition normal to do the rough shapes, and a high definition normal only for the small details. So we can blend between these two normals to see what is the best result we can have between the two of them, and we can decrease or increase our normal intensity at the end. Also, sometimes the normal won't look that good, but the height will be well outputted. So when it's happened, when you're not satisfied with the normal, you can always reapply the height information into the normal. So then the normal will be recalculated from the height information. So as you can see here, the normal was pretty well calculated by the image to material, so we don't need to really tweak it. We can also tweak the roughness directly into the filter. So it's pretty rough, some rocks like that. And we have like a nice texture that has like a great resolution to it. And we can obviously save it into Alchemist. So you can imagine the power you have with Alchemist and what you can create really quickly directly with this new feature. Let's see more advanced stuff in Alchemist, and I will import directly into the layer stack. I will re-import my grid texture. I will jump back into the 3D viewport. And we'll see that now we can tweak more and more the output we have within Alchemist with masks, etc. So what I will do, I will put like that. I want some details on the grid like that. And also I want to equalize a bit the height, so it's more flat. So here, as you can see, there is some variations, and I want to erase a bit these variations like that. Okay, so now I have like a clean grid. And what I can do with that is here, I think that there is some metallic happening over there onto the material, and there is some rust. And I know that metallics should look like metal, as like a metal map on it. And the rust is more like something that is more dielectric in terms of looking. So what I can do, I can save this material, save as create rust, like that. So then it will be saved on my collection. And I can clean my layer stack. Okay. And then I can drag and drop this one. I can type in metal, for example, and we have like a filter called metal finished that we can use like that. And in the metal finish filter, what you can see is that you have the color, so you can set the color, and you have some finish type, so grinded will output you something that has been grinded, cast, raw metal. For this one, raw metal looks good, so I will go with that one. I can tweak the roughness intensity like that. well. And then on the top of that, I can re-drag and drop my grid rust that is dielectric and not metallic. And now I can play with the masks over there. So here I'm in blend mode, but by clicking over there, I can go into, for example, custom blend mask. And on this custom blend mask, I can click on this little logo, and now I can paint some masks for the rust on Alchemist. You can use different intensities, obviously, if you want to have like more progressive effects like that. And obviously you can blur the mask, you can contrast them, add some balance to it, etc., etc. So this is a way to do it. There is another way that is more precise and more procedural. It is to use, I think it's color ID blend. And with that, you can select a color. And I want to select the rust on this one, like that. And then I can add some tolerance to the color, like that. And now what I can see is that everything is metallic, but my rust is not metallic. So that's a way also to do it. And obviously, I think we can blur a bit the masks, the smoothness, like that. So it has a more natural looking to it. And yeah, and that's pretty much it for the blendings in Alchemist. So now you can see that we have something that is more realistic in terms of parameterization. Also, what we can see over there on display, we can display the masks like that. So then you can be more precise on what you're doing over there. I will save this one also. Metal grid finish. Okay. So this one, I want to export it now to use it on my robot. Let's see. So to export, I'm clicking on the little arrow over there, and I want to export the SBSAR. So that's good. To my desktop, 2K, everything looks fine for me, and I just want to export that. So then it will, Alchemist will do his magic and compress all that file into SBSAR, and so it will be all well packaged on that. I want to show you also in Alchemist how to create decals. So now we have in Painter some decals that you can directly drag and drop on your asset with the Alt key. And I want to show you in Alchemist how to create that. So I will put like leak, rust, texture. Let's see. And I think this one worked well for me. So I will re-download it. For the example, it's perfect, but you could apply that to any type of image. This can be also a nice decal to play with. Well, maybe we want to try it use this one also. And we will use exactly the same technique we use for this metal grid, actually. So yeah, okay. So I will clean my layer stack and take my image, put it over there, put the image to material AI powers, and we'll see what Alchemist will output for us. So this is the result. Actually, for this one, we don't need height information. So I won't take some height information. What I'm interested about is more like the rust information on Alchemist. I need to read. So I want to zoom in. Like that. And here I'm in 2K, but I could switch to 4K also to have like more details on the surface. What I want to do is maybe add like more details to the top, like that. And I want to tweak down this, like that, and add some roughness to see better what is going on. Okay, so now I have something that has like a lot of details on the rust. So I'm sure it will look good after. And what I want to do to make it a decal, I want to save that to my library. So decal rust. And I will clean my layer stack. So now we have like this material that is ready. And what I want to do is take a black map for the opacity. And I want to put this time texture import, not image to material. Texture import will just take the map and assign it to a material. And because I named it opacity, Alchemist will know that you want to map it into opacity channel. So that's why now here there is a cube, but we don't see it because the opacity obviously has a black map, so it's completely transparent. And then I want to drag and drop my rust texture. And what you will see is that on the beginning, it won't do a lot. We will still have, oh yeah, here we are. So, whoop. So it's like that, okay. And what I want to do here is taking the same color ID blend and put it to white, for example, and invert the mask, I think, and the balance. No, I think I need to do it on the top material because the top material is the one I want to analyze. It's the decal rust material. And so now we have a nice decal because in Painter, the decal will always work with the opacity channel. And now our opacity channel, as you can see, is mapped with the color channel that it will output this black and white information. And then you can tweak it as you want, like that, taking I always love to put some small gray information, so it's not completely like black and white masks. It has like more detail to it that can have like some dust, etc. And this one I can just export it. And for this one, I won't. Maybe I don't want to use the height information because I know it won't look good on the robot. So I just want the normal information. So I will click on export, this one. And on the height information, I will just put it away. The ambient occlusion, I don't need it, but obviously I need the opacity. So everything can work well into Painter. And on this one, I can type in Rust Decal like that and export. And again, Alchemist will do his magic, export all of that. So on Alchemist, this is what I wanted to show you. With now this new image to material, it's just crazy what you can do in no time. Here in only like 20 minutes, just created three awesome materials that I can now use with other type of material from substance source, etc. But then it's way easier to create high quality material with this new feature. So I think I've got my metal grid finish, my Rust Decal. So I can just close Alchemist. Everything is saved into Alchemist, so I can jump back and remodify if I want. Then let's jump now into Substance Painter, so we can paint our small robot. And this is the last version of Painter, where you have decals, displacement, exports. A new window that we will see for the export textures, and it's super easy to export now with and to reiterate on the texture with that, because you can select all the maps you want, etc. So I will show you after. And for the model, we will use the one from the visuals here. And it will be this one. It has like 4 UV tiles. I took like a simple robot, so it for the webinar it won't take too long. And when you begin with a file that has UDIM, so different UDIMs, you want to make sure to create a texture set per UDIM tile. So this is the way to go. As you can see now, we have the auto unwrap with a new window pop up, where you can really set what you want to recompute on the UV. So here I can recompute the seam, so everything. It will cut your assets. Then it will do the unwrapping of the UV island and the packing. If I take down to generate only missing data, and this one, recompute all, it will keep the seams for the robots that are already on the OBJ file, but it will unwrap it completely and pack it. And so then you can really be more precise on what you want to do. If you want to only repack it, you can only use recompute all for the packing. On this example, I know that my robot has great UV, so I won't use it. And I can just take it like that. I will switch to my 3D viewport. And now in Painter, as you can see, I have this one is mapped to Alt. So when I click over there, I can rotate it. This one is set to zoom, so I can zoom in, zoom out, and this one is set to pan, so I can pan around my robots, and it's way more easy to navigate around like that. I love also to jump into orthographic camera when I'm working on a Painter. I have also mapped a shift key, so then I can do like some lines like that over there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. How I set Painter for me to work well with what I like. Also, what you can see, but this is not new in Painter, you have the shortcuts, so you can be really creative in terms of mapping with the Wacom driver. So you can really like make different type of mapping, even for this one, for example, this one for the zoom, no, the pan. Here I went, you have like a camera translate, and there is an alternative one so you can map two different ones. And for this one, I mapped the exclamation point because it's never used in Painter, and the left button. So then when I type in this one with only the click, I can pan like that. So you can really like set a very personal workflow with that. Also, what I want to mention is that with this Wacom, you have the, so over there, I'm not sure anymore. I think it's in calibrate. Nope. Yeah, it's this one. You can find it directly into the display like that. And you can really match the color from your computer to the Wacom. And when I received it, for example, all the color were really saturated on the Wacom. So it wasn't like matching what I want on my computer. But then I just changed to sRGB. This is what I used on Painter, for example. And it's exactly the same color in my computer screen and on the Wacom. So that's great. So depending on what type of color space you're using, you can set up over there with this little button here. And what I like also when I begin a project is on the screen, put some anti-aliasing. And what you can see in Painter, when you create like some UDIMs, it will name it like that, like classic UDIM names. And so then it created your own UDIMs with different texture sets. What I will do, I will just bake my textures. I don't need to bake the normals because I don't have like a high poly mesh for this one. So I will use only these parameters in 2K. And what I want to do, can tweak the ambient occlusion, add more rays if you want, secondary rays, etc. But I won't do it. And I want to bake for every texture set. So can just wait for the baking to be done. And what is great, this is like it has been released last year, but to visualize what Painter is doing on the background for baking all the maps, I find it just great. So you can really visualize. Also, what I didn't mention, that we have a new curvature baker. So I will show it after. And this new curvature baker, it's calculates the curvature on the mesh directly. I will explain that just after, so it's more clear for you. We just wait for the baking to be done. So here, obviously, I don't have a RTX. I just have like a GeForce 1080. But with RTX, I think the baking is reduced by 10 times the time of a classic GPU. So with RTX, you can, I think it would take like 10 seconds to bake all these maps. Yeah, the curvature now on, you can see by default is set to generate from mesh, and it's way more precise because it will really match exactly the shape of your mesh. Before we just generate the curvature from the normal map. So it was working, but now it's way better. It's a real curvature from mesh baker that we have, and so all our generators, masks, etc., will work way better with this curvature maps. Okay, so let's begin. What I want to do is just drag and drop my my materials like that. And the decal, you need to put it as a base material. It will work well like that. And I will take just some material from substance source, like sci-fi materials. Let's try maybe this one, some cool stuff like that. Yeah, this one looks good also. And let's try this one. And I want some rust paint. Yeah, this one looks good, and maybe this one. Okay, and maybe because I want to have like more details on the feet. Let's do it with that. I want to have like a ground. I know that there is some grounds. Grounds like that. Recently, we had some scans to the library, and there is like beautiful grounds. So all of that is just scans data that we do in-house at Substance. So we can also download this one. Okay. And maybe like, no, yeah, that will be perfect. Or maybe this one also. Okay. So let's begin. Let's take everything here. Drag and drop it as a base material. Here we go. And first I want to begin with some rust materials. So rust materials. Let's see. This one looks good. And I want to drag and drop it over there. And actually, because I'm working with UDIMs, what I want to do is instantiate some of the material I'm doing on all the texture sets, because I know that I will use it for all the texture sets. And a great way to do that is first to group this layer. So then I can drag and drop on this layer everything, and I can click on instantiate across texture sets, and I can instantiate this one on all the texture sets. So now all my UDIM tile are well mapped with this texture, and then I can search for paints. Solid paint, perfect. And I can drag and drop it also in the same folder. So then it will replicate on everything else. And on this one, what I want to do is taking into account that this one has the height information and this one, the normal information. I want to put it like that. Okay. And I want to go down to generators and add, for example, a metal edge where, and this will use the curvature maps so you can see more precisely what it will do. Oh, sorry for that. No, just messed up. I need to create a black mask, actually. Over there, and okay. And I need to invert it so it does the good stuff. Okay. And well level that. So this can be my base layer on all the robots, and then I can really tweak some of the layers after that. To continue, I will put some other textures, and now I will use the Alt key. So with the Alt key, this is the one in my Express Key remote. I can drag and drop decals, and what you will see is that it will apply the decal only on a projection plane. Obviously, you can place this one on the folder, so then you can project between the UDIM tiles like that. Okay. So I won't put it there. I want to put it more like over there, like that. Okay. And to rotate it. It matches perfectly what I want to do, like that. Yeah. Okay. And I can deactivate the height information just to keep it small, or the normal, like that. Okay. And I can obviously take a level, go into my height information and offset the height information. So then it can be like has like some volume to it. Obviously I didn't activate the displacement, but I can do that. Some subdivision counts. So then I can really have like some displacement happening on the surface, small displacement for this one. And okay, I can also activate my my decal that I created before. So this one, what you will see is that here, when I drag and drop it with the Alt key, it will take the opacity channel and it will convert it into a mask for the layer. So now I can really like have some more details like that. On this side, I know that when you go on different type of surfaces with this tool, it will rotate your projection. And I heard from the product manager of Substance that they will fix that, obviously, because it's not really practical to have the thing rotate in all the direction when you just want to move it. So what you can see is that now it's really simple to create like nice decals within Alchemist. Last thing I want to put, like maybe a plastic on the eye, like that. And on this one, I want the normal to be in the normal layer blend, so it won't, and the height also, like that. And I want to mask it. And I want to use the polygon selection. Maybe to do it like that. Let's zoom in. Okay, perfect. And so this one, can put it to black, not too much black. That. And put some scratches, scratch generators. And what I can do on this fill layer, that I can put on the roughness this scratch generator. So now it will have some scratch on the surface of it, like that. Perfect. Okay. Let's just add some more color, and then we will jump back directly into the question because I don't have any more time. So then I can show some of the stuff with the questions. And just maybe for the head, this one, I want to change the color. Just copy it like that. And I want to put like another color. Okay. Yep. Perfect. So maybe I will just launch the high rate to do a nice render, and I will jump into the questions. So that's pretty much it for Painter. Obviously, I could do like a lot of other show you other features that we put on Substance Painter. I just want to mention that we add some Python API. So now you can do like some Python plugins, and we will put other type of plugins into Python to match the JavaScript plugin tools we have over there. So we will do the same kind of tools in Python to put them over there. Obviously, the JavaScript tab will stay for legacy purposes. On the export texture window, you will see that it has a lot of changes. And what is really awesome is that, first of all, obviously you will, for example, choose, we had other type of templates. So you have like more precise template now. I use personally Arnold, so I will take the Arnold shader. And what is great is that now you can really personalize from texture assets what you want. So obviously, if you don't need some emissive on this one, but only on this one you need it, you can really set up what you want to do. Obviously, the normal information, if it's 8 bits, it's not good. So 16 bits on this one, 16 bits on this one for the height, obviously. And you can really like optimize your workflows like that. If you know that this one is a very small part, you don't need to have like a lot of quality to it. You can deactivate the height, for example. You don't have metals. Yeah, and you just like tweaking all the stuff you're doing. And it's really practical actually when you're iterating between, for example, Arnold and Painter, because sometimes everything works good, but you will have just one UDIM tile that is not working, and you want just to re-export the base color because you did a modification on Painter. So it's really practical. You can deactivate everything and just export this base color map on this one. So yeah, very, very practical stuff, and it's more technical, but it adds a lot of value on the export side of Painter. Maybe I can jump back into Zoom to see if we have some questions. Let's see. Oh, it's over there. Okay. That and the Q&A. I want to know if Alchemist is easier than Designer. I'm asking this because I'm new and I haven't worked with Designer yet, but I know it could be frustrating to work with Designer sometimes. So how much does Alchemist reduce the overwhelming workflow? So Substance Designer, yeah, obviously it's nodal software. I didn't show it on the Wacom, on this Wacom webinar, because it's more a desktop app. So you will be more with the mouse and the keyboard. But Substance Designer, I've been using it for a long time. It's awesome because it's super powerful. But yeah, sometimes you can get lost on a lot of process with it. If you want only to do like a quick material for like a brick wall, for example. And I know that in Substance Designer, it could take like 1, 2, 3 days, even a week, if you want to have like a perfect brick of wall that is really realistic, etc. And sometimes the brick of wall will be on the background of a profile or a shot or something. So you don't need to spend too much time on it. And this is where Alchemist becomes like really, really powerful with that. And I didn't show you, but you can obviously do some texture with materials or images that are existing on the internet, or you took like with your iPhone or something like that. But you can also within Alchemist For example, you can take a procedural material like this one. Oop. What is that? Close that. Up. Okay. I will turn down the touch. You can take a procedural material like this one, for example, and you can turn it into a brick wall with a filter, for example, this filter. And then you have like so many possibilities with this filter. So if you want to change, for example, the bound, you can do that like that, even with gaps on it. Obviously, you need to activate the displacement to see it better. You can add like some patterns onto the bricks. A lot of things. You can add like more bricks like that, more vertical bricks. You can mix with other bricks type, like that, for example. Let's activate the shadows, and that's in terms of I know that it took me, I think on this filter, it took me like maybe 2 weeks to get it to work well. But then you don't need to make this on yourself. Now you can just use the filter as is, and you have like so many possibilities to have like some disorder on the cement part, to have like some edges, to make like some different type of brick disorders, shatter some bricks, add like some edge wear on the bricks, and stock one of these bricks, add some color variation to it, and some dirtiness, for example, and then you have like a completely broken brick of wall brick that you can modify, etc., etc. And if you want to modify, obviously the color of the bricks, you can do it like that, with the terracotta layer on the bottom of it. So then obviously it would take a big amount of time to do it with Designer. If it's existing into Alchemist, and we have a ton of video that show all the filter we have also pavement filter, etc., to do some environment work. Obviously Alchemist is the way to go. If you want to do like a really precise material, like sci-fi material that doesn't exist in the real world, so you can't really take a photo of it, then Substance Designer is the way to go, because you need to start from scratch on designing the shapes, etc. So different type of purposes, but I think the two, Substance Designer and Substance Painter, are working well to Substance Designer and Substance Alchemist are working well together. Also, what I want to mention is that if you are creating something with Substance Designer and you want to convert it into a filter for Alchemist, like the brick wall, for example, this brick wall filter will take an input material that will do the brick. If I want to do like plastic bricks, I can put some plastic over there, and then I've got plastic bricks. So it will always take an input on the bottom, and then apply this pattern onto it. And to create this type of filters for Alchemist, you can go on New over there, and on the bottom you have Alchemist filter template. And here, as you will see, so with I didn't map Substance Designer with the Wacom, because I usually use a mouse for Substance Designer. But then you have inputs. For example, this is your input for the glossiness that you can delete if you don't use glossiness. For the roughness, for example, this is the your roughness, if you do like an operation on it, so it will take your basic roughness, and then if you want to blend it with another one like that, then your filter will modify the roughness of your bottom material with this blending, etc. So all the operation you do between the inputs and the output over there will work within Alchemist, and obviously you can expose parameter that you will find then on Alchemist for your filter. So this is also a way to work when you know a lot of Substance Designer, to create filters, and then you can reuse them a lot of time into Alchemist, where it's more about the visuals and all this stuff. Let's see if we have other questions. Is the AI powered option add since yesterday update? Yes, it is add since yesterday update. So you can use it now by downloading Alchemist to try it. And I've been using it for 1 month, and it's just awesome. It output great results. I'm very happy with this feature. Can we zoom and zoom out with the touch gesture on Alchemist? No, we can't do that, neither in Alchemist, neither in Painter, neither in Substance Designer. So we didn't map this type of gesture. Let's see other. Is it possible to modify something in Alchemist when it is import in Painter and reload it? Yes, it's possible to do it. So in Painter, it will more be in Painter. When you click, so maybe not this one, but the one that I imported. Let's see what is happening. This Painter. Yeah, it's so maybe this is the thing that blocks. Let's see the window. View shelf. Why I can? Even on my computer, it doesn't work. So I think Painter is. Oh no, I had like the projection. That's why. That's why. So if you right click on the material, you can type. You can reload it. So it will propose you. Do you want to reload the resource? And then your you will have like your material updated from the modification you did with Alchemist. So within Alchemist, make sure that you replace your material that you imported, and then it will work fine like that. So here you can see like that. On this one, we can't. Like that. The shelf import, and here export. Why it's maybe I need to create a project, open samples. Like that, base material. Okay, so now when you can do it when you load your material into the project actually. So when you import a material, be sure you're making it into the project over there, and then you can right click on it. I didn't know that. And then you can right click and reload your material, and then you can jump in and back into Alchemist to do your modification. And each time you need to reload it like that, and it won't apply the modification into your layer stack, because we don't want you to have like everything modified if you did something with that. So you need to reload it into your layer stack then. Okay. So this one is Alchemist free for students and educators. So yes, I think it's still free for students and educators, but for only the at your home. When you're using it in your school, it's you need to pay for it on the computer of the school. So the thing where you need to pay on the when you're using at the school, it's for the educator actually, or the school, etc. Whenever I texture an asset in Substance Painter and import those texture into Maya, and I append that into my model, the texture color and the fill really seem different. What could be the problem? So maybe so we don't have color management in Substance Painter. So it will come. We are working on that. So it might be because we don't have color management, and you're using another color management for Maya. So make sure you're in sRGB in Maya. And I don't have Maya over there. I have Cinema 4D, but also it could be that your color texture, your base color is treated as linear data, and you don't want that. You want it to set it to sRGB, but normally Arnold know if the naming of your map is a base color, it will automatically assign it as sRGB data. But so it can be so for example, Arnold standard surface, when you import an image, whoop, let's take an image on my download folder over there into the graph. That's okay, to the graph. So when you import it like that, normally make sure this is in auto mode, but make sure you are in sRGB. And in Painter, we use sRGB. Also, be sure to use in your export channels like that. If you're using, I can't remember, it was in Maya, but you didn't specify the render. So make sure that you specify the render you will use over there in Maya. So if it's Arnold, Redshift, Octane, or we have all the V-Ray, etc. We have everything. Or you need to use the metallic PBR roughness, and then normally it will just work fine. Okay. Is the brick demo all possible in Alchemist? Is the brick demo all possible in Alchemist? I don't really understand this one. when you want to do like a brick in Alchemist, or you go the procedural way, or you are taking some bricks into into Alchemist with the AI powered, and so you can type in brick wall, for example, on this one, and then you drag and drop it. And I tried it with some bricks in Alchemist, and it's working pretty fine. So I'm sure you're. So let's take this one, for example. Want some bricks with some details on it. So maybe this one. Well, we'll see. And then what I would do is the same thing I did before. Just drag and drop it, transform it with the transform node, and then use the AI powered tool to use that. So I want to add the brick. My downloads here, and I don't want to use directly the image to material. I just want to use as bitmap like that. Then I can transform it here, and I want to, when you use it as a bitmap, it will always load as a scan one. So you want to unwrap, put it with the good, yep. And then you drag and drop the image to material, AI powered, like that. And normally it should work. So let's see what is going on, like that. And okay, so maybe you can then tweak a bit the brick. So on this one, doesn't output great results, but I'm sure with other ones. By the way, in Adobe Stock, you can try by you don't have to buy everything before trying it. You can this one looks good. You can download it as a test image with the logo Adobe Stock. Try it into Alchemist, and if it's working well, then you can obviously buy it to have it without the logo. So let's try with directly drag and drop in this one. And see if it's processing well. Also, I want to do it more like that. Okay. And now I want to make the process. And yes, for this one, it works way better. So you will see that it has analyzed the lighting like way better than before. And it's just delighted, so that's perfect. And then you can just tweak a bit between the details. Obviously, my displacement is way too high, so I need to put down a bit the displacement. And what you can see is that you have just an amazing brick of walls in no time. And you can even equalize a bit the height to have like less details or more details on that. And with the adjustment also, we have features like that. You can tweak the height to put down like big levels, sharp levels, data, etc., etc. So you can really be more precise on what you're doing. That's now you have a brick of wall that's is looking like a scan brick of wall, and yeah, that's pretty cool. Also, I didn't show you a new feature that we have that is called perspective perspective correction. And that is really cool for this type of bricks or stuff like that, because it will do like the, so I'm not tweaking the good map. Yeah, so it will add like some distortion, transform. So then you can really match the brick you want to match with that. And that's very cool in terms of, yeah, so that's it. So now it's styling actually, because I just did it with this perspective tool stuff. So it's just working well like that. So pretty cool. And then you can obviously apply the tiling filter to make it tile with like a good masks. Once it's aligned together, then you can really work with this mask like that. So creating an organic mask here. And then you have like a fully tileable material in no time with bricks. I mean, with this new AI feature, you can really be proficient on the texture side of the creation process. So I didn't quite get the AI was doing. So if I have a regular height res map, I take the image and generate all the maps. No, it won't work with regular high-res image. Yeah, of course, it can work with low-resolution images, but obviously it won't output really like sharp results. So yeah, it's better with if you have a high-resolution image. And yeah, just with one image, what it will do, it will take the image, analyze from where the sun or the light is going, and then it will delete it first, and it will then recreate from the drop shadows and all this information, recreate the volume and recreate a normal with that. And then the height is deduced by the normal. So this is the process of what it will do basically, and it's working perfectly well. Also, what you can do is if you scan something with photogrammetry, like a ground, you can process your base color to delete it with the image to material. So then at the end, you will just keep the base color that has been deleted, because the deleting algorithm we have in image to material is really powerful. So what you can see is that we washed out completely the shadow and only keep the essence of the material. What was the material library from Substance? Is it free? So no, it's free when you're you have a subscription to the Substance subscription. So then yes, it's free, and you have 30 material by month that you can download. And obviously, each month you will we add like 30 more credits for you to download some other materials. And into a Substance source, what you can see is that obviously you have the texture, but we output two different type of file. The SBSAR will work in Substance Painter, Substance Alchemist, obviously Substance Designer, and all our integrations. But the SBS also will be available through Source without an additional cost when you just download one of the material. And then with this SBS material, you can open it into Substance Designer. And by the way, this is a good way to learn about Substance Designer. It's just by downloading some of the material we have on Source and just analyzing how it's made. So then you have access to all the graph. So you can see how we made, for example, this pattern, how we made the decal, etc. And obviously, I was talking about the signature drops. So you can even discover how really rock star of 3D are doing their material. So I know that Daniel Tiger is a huge one. So we have like a Daniel Tiger drop, like this one, for example. And here you can really learn about Daniel Tiger by just looking into what he's doing. So you can obviously download the SBS over there and look how we make these awesome rocks, patterns, etc. This one also is fully procedural, so it's not a scan, and you can really learn about how it's made and take all the knowledge and then recreate your own materials. So you you have an infinity of possibility basically with Substance Source when you think about it. For beginner, what software should we recommend first, Alchemist, Painter, or Designer? I would recommend Alchemist to begin. Just create some material, have fun with it, have fun with the new AI powered image to material, have fun with some Google image that you find on internet, and then I would recommend Substance Painter when you want to paint on an asset. But yeah, Substance Designer is great, but yeah, you will have more works to do to understand it. But obviously, if you are a beginner, what I suggest is that you go on to Substance Academy. So when you type in, what is that? When you type in Substance Academy over there, you can go over there and you will have like all the courses you want with the softwares. So for example, getting started with Substance Painter, and this is 3-hour course, I think, with all the data all the project data. And what you can see, you can also navigate per subject. So yeah, it's like a real master class where you learn the basic of Substance Designer, and then you can also find by level. So if you type in Substance Painter, for example, you can have the foundation stuff, then the advanced, and then the expert, where you learn a lot about like really high, really complex stuff in Substance Painter. So you have a lot of content to play with here. Want to be a modeler? How is the industry doing now? Really well. I think, and even more with all the work at home, because now a lot of people are looking to replace the photography, etc. So no, it's doing really, really well overall. So, and in the game industry, you have like a lot of opportunities, also in the VFX industry. And now more and more like companies, big companies are searching for a new profile, like modeler, texturing artist, etc. To do the digital transformation of their workflow, etc. So no, it's a good way to begin to do some modeling. What do you need to study to become a modeler? So you can do like a game school, or you can do a design school. Personally, I did like a graphic design school in Switzerland, so I was more like a 2D guy. And then I was really interested by the 3D, so I learned everything on YouTube. So this is the best way also to learn, is to watch some YouTube videos and to be really curious about what you can do in 3D and to find your path like that. But it's always good also to have a school to be a bit structured on the way you're working at the beginning and the way you're learning. I'm hoping for environment modeler. Do you have any book or YouTube channel I can recommend? I don't know. I think I don't watch YouTube channels. I always find my my tutorials on a specific forum or of the. I always search for specific subjects, but obviously we have like books about PBR materials at Substance, so you can learn about that. And yeah, just search on YouTube for if you want to use, for example, a ZBrush to model something, or Houdini to do like a full procedural environment. So then you just go onto Google and type procedural environment Houdini, and you will find a ton of tutorial on that. Free tutorials, and sometimes you have like a tutorial that you can pay, and obviously the one that you pay are way have better quality to it and a lot of interesting information. Is new Alchemist is beneficial for game designer? Obviously, yes, it's beneficial for game designer, because you can do like a lot of texturing with Alchemist, and so then you spend less time into complex software. You just like output all the data you need with Alchemist, and combine it in any game engine or software you want. So yeah, it will be beneficial for any people which is doing 3D basically, and as like a texturing pipeline. Okay, I think we have everything, no?
Wow. Yes. Yes, I think we're done. Thank you, Guillaume. Thank you ever so much for this webinar, and especially for taking your time to answer all those questions. I think it is such a great opportunity for so many people to actually be able to talk to somebody who's in the industry, who knows his trade very well, where you can ask all those questions. So a special thank you also from our side to do this webinar and to answer all the questions. And yeah, I think it was a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for staying with us.
So I've got one little thing to wrap up, and I think that is the last question that we had that was in the chat. Where is the wrap-up video and summary video going to be seen? That popped up a couple of times, and as I mentioned in the beginning, we will share a video of this webinar on YouTube in a few days, and you will receive a follow-up email also in the next couple of days with the link to that video, also with additional information. So you will have access to everything that we've said and rewatch it and deep dive into all the details and check stuff in parallel and get your hang of it. So also from our side, a big thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you enjoyed this. If you're curious about all the other webinars that we're rolling out at the moment, do follow us on social at Wacom. If you want to share your own artwork across the different platforms, tag it with Made with Wacom to make chance of being picked up by our busy social media team. It's also a nice hashtag to follow to see what other people are doing. There's amazing stuff popping up there. Also, don't forget to follow our partner Substance. A big thank you again to Substance to co-host this today. Follow them with @Substance3D or via their website. And should you be interested to upgrade your gear, do check out our eStore. We run a couple of very interesting deals at the moment. With the promo code WEBINARSUBSTANCE, you save up to 15% on our large Wacom Cintiq 22 pen display, but also on the Wacom Intuos and Wacom Intuos Pro pen tablets. So as I said, it's worth checking out, and otherwise hope to see you soon at another webinar, and enjoy your evening. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Bye.
Guillaume.